But there's a magical fourth triangle that maybe you've seen before our health span, before our health starts to decline, and it's where everything is equal. This is the time to retire. And this is another reason to retire this year. It's that sweet spot where everything aligns. It could be in your 50s, 60s. There's 70-year-olds who are still making it happen. In health, you've got the time to make positive changes to your health, right? You've got the money to invest in your well-being, and then finally, you've got the time to make it all happen. So the question for many isn't, can I afford to retire? It really becomes, can I afford to wait? Almost every time I talk to a retiree and ask, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about the retirement? I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a lot. They say, do it sooner. Now that might all sound motivating and good, and that's great, but I think there's something else that might be stopping you. It's common for a lot of clients too. At least it's true for many of the subscribers of this channel as well. And that is, what about all of the uncertainty happening in the world right now, right? It could be the economy, it could be inflation, AI, or wars or other global tensions happening in the world. Those are valid concerns. But here's something interesting I've learned over the last 16 years of helping people retire. There is never a perfect time to retire. Take a look at this visual timeline over the last 16 years or so. These are all the reasons not to retire, right? We've got the global financial crisis, the debt crisis that happened a few years later. And then there was Brexit in 2016. There's many more. We had the global pandemic, inflation spike in 2022, and the banking crisis in 2023. And guess what? Clients that we helped during each of these periods, each of these years, they were able to retire, and they're still enjoying retirement right now. And when you zoom out, you could see even more going back to 1929, all of the big things. If you can pause this and zoom in a little bit, there's all sorts of things. There's always a worry, always a reason to not retire. Whether it was the Cold War in the 60s or the oil crisis in the 70s or the Gulf War and the tech bubble and 9/11. But here's what I learned in looking back and looking at history. Uncertainty isn't a bug in the system. It's just a feature. It's always going to be there. The only thing that changes is what the uncertain thing is, right? Mark Twain puts it perfectly when he said, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. And Jesus has words about worry too. It's who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life. But the good news now, while we can't eliminate uncertainty, we can build into the retirement plan a way to weather it. Because think of uncertainty kind of like the weather, right? We can't control it, but we can build a house that's strong enough to withstand the storm. A client called me in March of 2020, and you remember what was happening at that time. And she was worried because everything that was happening in the world, right? Health and money-wise. I was worried too. And she had just retired, and she saw that the markets were going down. She saw her accounts getting impacted, and she was almost regretting. She was thinking, I shouldn't have retired this year. This is the worst time to do it. So we looked at her plan, her income plan, and then we looked at the buckets. And if you've seen this channel before, you kind of know that this is an interesting way to think about things. And we saw in bucket number 1, the short-term conservative bucket, she had 7 years worth of withdrawals in that bucket. So meaning she needed $10K a month to survive, and she had enough in there to last 7 years. And the great thing about it, it was over positive 3% per year to date that year. And that's all she needed to just feel relief and then feel like she had one less worry, one less financial worry to think about. And that's exactly why we run the Streamline investment system that uses tactical investment strategies like creating an income plan first, focus on income, and then that tells us how to be invested, right? What the risk should be. And a lot of times we want to take the least amount of risk possible with still have the highest chance of success. And then also just make sure you have the right asset classes for every market season, because there's 4 main economic seasons we can go through. And then also trigger-based rebalancing. So we're not letting emotions direct our decisions. And there's many other things to do there, but the main purpose is reducing worry and increasing confidence, and then also delivering these other very important things. Almost one of them is money related, But these other things are extremely important in retirement as well. Now, if you're not ready to work with a retirement specialist yet, I mentioned earlier in the video that there's a practical tool you can use to map out that SMILE spending pattern, right? There's a link below to my favorite retirement planner. And when you get it, here's what to do. Here's how to look or think about your expenses. Here's an example of when you get in there and you're looking at expenses. We've got recurring expenses. That's like don't pay attention to the numbers here because it's not a real plan, but recurring monthly expenses, maybe it's 10K a month. That's going up by 3% per year or whatever it might be. And then you've got the one time. These are the what if scenarios that you could plug in, and it's travel for more, the first 10 years of retirement, or it's medical expenses, whatever it might be.